Hi students, very good evening. Welcome back to Sri Ramanuja Vidya Mandir. Today I would like to explain about the nutrition in the plants. Already I delivered 3 lectures basing on this topic, and today I would like to give a summary for this topic. Let us start the class today. Students, in the nature, every living creature requires food materials just to get the energy. By using that energy, organism able to survive, grow or develops itself. Okay, because of all these things, we require the energy. Not only humans, not only animals, all the living creatures, in the sense plants, animals, microorganisms also do require some food to get the energy. Right, the process of taking the food by the organism and utilization of this food for their growth, development is nothing but the nutrition. Okay, see children, this is the nutrition. Now, this nutrition is of two types. Autotrophic mode of nutrition and the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, basing on the type of food they'll earn. So, here nutrition is of two types. Autotrophic and next type is heterotrophic. You know children, the word auto means self, trophic means nourishment. Here organism is having the capability of self-synthesizing the food materials, that is autotrophic. Hetero means, the word hetero means others. Here organism is not having the capability of synthesizing the food. So this type of organisms has to depend upon the other living creatures for the food. Examples, maximum students, all green plants will come under the category of autotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, here in the case of hetero, all animals will come under this category of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now, first let us discuss about the autotrophic mode of nutrition. See here, some plants, maximum all the green plants performs the process of photosynthesis to synthesize the food materials. Now, let us start discussion about the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process in which light energy absorbed by the chlorophyll and converted into the chemical energy. The chemical energy is then used to synthesize carbohydrates from the carbon dioxide and the water, where oxygen is released in this procedure. See children, photosynthesis means light dependent reaction, light based reaction, where all the green plants, they're going to trap the light energy. Actually photosynthesis means, students, conversion of light energy into chemical energy, right? Chemical energy. Here, let us see the next slide. Let first carbon dioxide, when mixed up with the water, they'll be giving rise to carbohydrate, C6H12O6 and water and oxygen. So for this reaction to take place, it requires sunlight and a special pigment known as chlorophyll. Right, the raw materials needed for the process of photosynthesis are carbon dioxide and the water. Carbon dioxide enters leaves by the process of diffusion. So, which part of the plant performs the process of photosynthesis? You all know, no? Leaves. leaves are going to perform the process of photosynthesis. So, in order to prepare the food, first of all, this leaf requires the carbon dioxide, right? So, how this carbon dioxide enters into the leaves? So, by the procedure known as diffusion. Diffusion is the physical procedure. Where? So, it enters through the stomata. Stomata, the small openings, they will be present in the lower epidermis of the leaves. So, under the underside of the leaves, through these stomatal openings, carbon dioxide enters into the leaves. That is about the carbon dioxide. Now, let us see the second raw material, water. Water enters the plant through the roots and transported to the leaves via xylem vessels. So, through the roots, plant is going to absorb the water, and from the roots, so we will be having the xylem vessels. Vascular tissue is there, no? There are two types of vessels are present in the plant, xylem and the phloem. Xylem is a water conductive tissue, whereas phloem is a food conductive tissue, you know everything. So, through these xylem vessels, they are like pipe-like structures. So, through these xylem vessels, water is being transported to the different parts of the plant. In the same way, so water is going to the leaves. Now, our leaf is getting the raw materials which are necessary for the making of the carbohydrate. Two things we required. What are those? Carbon dioxide and water, right? See, this is the plant diagram, root system, shoot system. Okay, see, through the roots, water is going to absorb by the plant, and from the roots to the different parts of the plant, it is going to distribute it through xylem vessels. Xylem vessels. Okay. You just see the equation of photosynthesis, student. Carbon dioxide, water, these two are the raw materials. When they'll mix with each other, so they'll be synthesizing the glucose, oxygen and the water. Right? Where does photosynthesis takes place? Just now I explained. So, all the green plants performs the process of photosynthesis. See children, in the leaves, we are having special type of cells are known as mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells. In the mesophyll cells, here, for example, this is the cell, students. So, at the center nucleus will be. So, here they are having the chloroplast. Chloroplast. Chloroplast is one of the special cell organelle present in the mesophyll cells of the leaf. Why this chloroplast is having a pigment known as chlorophyll. Generally, this chlorophyll is a green color pigment. Because of the presence of this pigment only, leaves appears in the green in color. Okay, see, in the cytoplasm of the mesophyll cells, they are having the chloroplast, and in turn this chloroplast is having the chlorophyll pigment in an organelle called chloroplast, which contains a pigment known as chlorophyll. Right, the structure involved in the photosynthesis, let us discuss. Chlorophyll, a green color pigment that traps the solar energy for the process of photosynthesis. So, chloroplast is the organelle containing the chlorophyll. Right. Next, let us see the internal structure of the leaf. So, this is the cross section of the leaf. Students, for example, this is the leaf. Okay. This is nothing but leaf lamina. Leaf lamina, and this is the petiole, and this is the leaf base, midrib, veins, and veins are further branched into veinlets. Okay, see, when we'll cut the leaf, okay, so the cross-sectional view of the leaf appears like this. The cross-section view of the leaf appears like this. upper epidermis, lower epidermis. In between, they'll be having the mesophyll cells. You just see, children. This is upper epidermis. Upper epidermis. So below this, they're having a special type of cells are known as palisade parenchyma. Palisade or mesophyll cells, you can write. Palisade mesophyll cells. Just below that, they're having the spongy mesophyll cells. And next to this, they're having the lower epidermis. Okay, let me give the difference between the palisade parenchyma and the spongy parenchyma. In the palisade, so the cells are very closely arranged. The cells which are present in the particular region, they were very closely arranged. There is no sort of intercellular space are present. Okay, but when you see the spongy parenchyma, so we can see the interstitial spaces in between the cells. Okay, so these are the air gaps. This is the air gaps we can see in the spongy parenchyma. That is the difference between the palisade mesophyll cells and the spongy mesophyll cells. And let us see, in the lower epidermal layer, we are having the special pores known as stomata. This stomata mainly having the two bean-shaped or kidney-shaped guard cells. So, opening and the closing of these pores associates with the what? Exchange of the gases, means entry of the carbon dioxide as well as exit of the oxygen is going to take place through these pores only. See students, we are the animals, we are the human beings. How we have nasal nares? So through these nasal openings, we are going to inhale the oxygen. Again, through the same thing only, we are going to exhale the carbon dioxide. Same type of arrangement is there in the plants through stomata. Exchange of the gases could occurs through the stomata. This is about the internal structure of the leaf. Now, see, already I discussed everything. Upper epidermis, lower epidermis we discussed. Right. Spongy mesophyll cells. So, it also contains some chloroplast, but main function is not for the photosynthesis. Main site of the gaseous exchange. Through this spongy parenchyma only, gases can enter into the body. Next, so transpiration. You know what do you mean by the process where water vapors moves out of the stomata of the leaf is transpiration. See children, plant is going to lose excess water in the form of small droplets. That particular procedure is known as transpiration. Transpiration, right? Gaseous exchange of the carbon dioxide. During the photosynthesis, carbon dioxide from the surroundings air will enter into the stomata by the process of diffusion into the intercellular spaces. It will then enter into the mesophyll cells. See children, these are the stomatal openings, right? Through these openings, there is a entry of the carbon dioxide into the leaf body. Okay, first it enters into the spongy mesophyll cells. Spongy mesophyll cells. Then it enters into the palisade mesophyll cells. In the palisade mesophyll cells only, we are having the more chloroplast, so that more chlorophyll is available in this particular cells only. So where we can see the process of photosynthesis. Right. Here, opposite happens for the oxygen during the photosynthesis from spongy mesophyll cells out of the stomata into the surroundings. So in the previous slide, we have seen the entry of the carbon dioxide into the leaf body. Now we are seeing the opposite to that, the first one. So exit of the oxygen. Okay, exchange of the gases can take place by means of physical procedure known as diffusion. Okay. Next. Vascular bundles. These vascular bundles are made up of two different types of vessels actually. Xylem vessels and the phloem vessels. First, let us discuss about the xylem vessels. They will be present on the top of the phloem actually. So, there will be helps in the transportation of the water from the roots to the palisade mesophyll cells for the process of photosynthesis. Water in the palisade mesophyll cells will also move to the spongy mesophyll cells to escape into the surrounding air. So, xylem vessels are the special vessels. They helps in the transportation of the water. Next type of vascular bundle, that is phloem. It is always just present below the bottom of the xylem, and the word phloem, in the sense, you should remember that this is the food conductive tissue. Food conducting tissue. Okay. Should remember, xylem is water conducting, whereas food or phloem is food conductive tissue. It transports food made during the photosynthesis from the palisade mesophyll cells to the other parts of the plant. You know, children, leaves are going to perform the process of photosynthesis, means leaves are preparing the food, right? So, after the preparation, this food has to be transported to the different parts of the plant, right? That transportation, carrying, transporting, everything is going to be done by the phloem vessels. Here, one important point I would like to explain. In the case of xylem, the food flow is only to the upward direction. Okay, here unidirectional. But in the case of phloem, students, it is bidirectional. Food flow is bidirectional, whereas water flow is only to the upward direction, that is unidirectional. This point you should remember. Okay. Next. See, structure of dicotyledon's leaf. Dicot, cross section of view of the leaf. See, children, see, first of all, you just see this diagram. So, this part is nothing but the cross sectional view of the leaf. Okay, when we'll cut the leaf at the center, so we could observe the vascular bundles at the center. So, this is the vascular bundles and upper epidermis, lower epidermis, and these are the mesophyll cells. Palisade, spongy mesophyll cells are present. So, this is nothing but the leaf structure. Okay, the cross-sectional view of the dicotyledon leaf. If you understand, first of all, we all should have an idea about the structure of leaf. Then only we can easily understand the procedure involved in the photosynthesis. In upper classes, again, you are going to learn about the mechanism, everything. So, now your people are in the lower classes. So, this level of information is sufficient for you. Okay, in the next classes, you are going to learn about what do you mean by the photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis having the two types of reactions, light and dark reactions. So, about all these things we can learn in the next classes. Okay. And see, palisade, spongy, upper epidermis and the lower epidermis. Next, structure of dicotyledon, so same structure students, this one also. So, these are the stomata. Okay. In the lower epidermis students, we should talk about the stomata. Pores for exchange of the gases present. You can say small openings are there. Okay. That pores are called stomata. The opening and the closing of the stomata guard by the guard cells. Okay. So, which type of cells they are? Guard cells. These guard cells are bean shaped. Okay. Or kidney shaped, you can say. So, like this will be. Okay. Next, what happens to the manufactured food? So far we are discussing about the how the food is going to synthesize in the plant. Now let us see the next step, that is what happens to the manufactured food. The movement of the sugars or amino acids by the phloem is a translocation. The food flow from the leaves to the different parts of the plant occurs by means of a special process, that is translocation. Okay, transpiration is different from the translocations, children. See children, here in the leaves glucose is synthesized. Glucose is nothing but a carbohydrate. Glucose is synthesized in the leaf body. Now whatever the carbohydrate synthesized, it should convert into the sugars and translocate to the different body parts. Okay, now it stores in the form of fruits, buds. Excess food is going to stored in the form of fruits and buds. And so this food is nothing but nutrients. No, they'll be reaching to the different regions of the plant, like growing tips. Okay, so where the energy is required by the plant part, so to the particular location this food is going to be transported. If the plant requires more energy than can be produced, food stores are mobilized, converted into the sugars and transported wherever it is needed. Okay, excess amount of the food is stored actually whenever they require the food. So this stored food, for example stored sugars, are being carried to the particular place of the plant and they'll be utilized. Then they'll be producing the energy. Okay, so this is about the manufactured food. Next, fate of glucose formed during the photosynthesis. Very important point this one. In the photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and the water is utilized, that you know very well. Excess food is actually first food will be utilized for the energy. Next, still if we have an excess food, it will be stored in the different parts of the plant for the future use. Okay, either in the form of amino acids or in the form of carbohydrates. This is about the fate of glucose formed during the photosynthesis. Now, factors limiting the photosynthesis. So many factors influence or affects the process of photosynthesis, like carbon dioxide concentration, light intensity, temperature. Right? These are the graphs showing the factors on the rate of photosynthesis. Next, importance of photosynthesis. There are 2 points actually. Photosynthesis makes chemical energy available to the plant. The reason is that animals are not having the efficiency of the self-synthesizing the food. Right? The next point is that photosynthesis removes the carbon dioxide and provides the oxygen. Very important thing. So we all do, like animals, we all require the oxygen. That oxygen is supplied by the process of photosynthesis. Right? See, these two things get balanced by the plants as well as animals. Plants do require the carbon dioxide, in the same way we require the oxygen. So both things get balanced by the animals as well as the plants. We all discussed. Now, synthesis of the protein. So far we discussed about the carbohydrates only. Only with the carbohydrate we can't survive, students. We also require the proteins. Carbohydrates or fats supplies energy to the animal, whereas proteins helps in the body building of the living organism. Okay, so even proteins are nothing but nitrogenous compounds. Some plants requires these nitrogenous compounds also for their growth and development. But these plants cannot synthesize the nitrogen compounds. They can only synthesize the carbohydrates only. But in the nature, in the atmosphere, more than 70% of the nitrogen is available. But this atmospheric nitrogen cannot directly absorbed by the plant. So this atmospheric nitrogen they can't absorb. So they requires the help of some other organism for these things to do. See, generally in the bean, okay, leguminous plants, they require the nitrogen actually, but they can't utilize the atmospheric nitrogen. So what they'll do, they'll be having the association life with the rhizobium bacteria. This rhizobium bacteria lives in the root nodules of this plant. Okay, where rhizobium bacteria, for example, A is the plant, B is the bacteria. Okay, A plant offers protection, food to the B organism, that is the bacteria. Okay, so indirectly this bacteria doing some favor to the plant that it can convert the atmospheric nitrogen into useful form of nitrogen. Right, so there is a healthy association in between the plant and the bacteria. So this type of association or relation we can say symbiosis or mutualism, where both the partners get benefited each other. Okay, both here the plant is giving food, nutrients, shelter to the bacteria, and in turn bacteria is giving the useful form of nitrogen to the plant. So this is, in this way some plants acquires the nitrogen levels. So this is about the nitrogen fixation by the rhizobium bacteria. And farmers also add some fertilizers containing nitrogen into the soil. Plants absorb this nitrogen from the soil along with the water and other constituents to prepare the proteins and the fats. See children, one point you should remember, only with the carbohydrate no plant can survive. So it also requires some fats as well as the proteins. Okay, this is about synthesis of the proteins. And other modes of nutrition, parasitism. Parasitic plants, some plants, example Cascata, they can't synthesize the food. Okay, so they'll be having the association with the other organisms, other plants. Okay, for example, see this small thin structures are there, no? This is the Cascata and this is the other plant. So we can also call it as host plant. There is an association between the host plant and parasitic plant. Parasitic plant, where here host plant is offering shelter, food to the parasitic plant, but this parasitic plant it is not doing any benefit, but indirectly it is causing harm to the host cells. So this type of association is known as parasitism. In the earlier case we have seen the symbiosis or mutualism, here parasitism. Here in the case of parasitic relation, only one organism get benefited, whereas other organism is going to lose the nutrients. Okay, so this is about the parasitism. In the next case, so Orobanche, ramosa and the Rafflesia, it bears the biggest flower. See children, Rafflesia is the biggest flower in the world. So it measures about 50 to 100 centimeters and weighs about 10 kg. Rafflesia. It is also best example for the Rafflesia parasitism. Next, insectivorous plants. There are some plants they'll prefer to eat insects for their protein demands. Okay, so they'll be having the jug-like structures. The leaf apex, for example, this is the leaves, right? So this part is known as apex. This part of the leaf is modified into jug-like structures known as pitcher. So in these pictures, insects get trapped. Okay, whenever insect lands on the surface of the particular jug-like structure, so it immediately get closed, and whereas insect get trapped inside the pitcher plant. Now what will happen after some time? There are certain enzymes, lytic enzymes will be secreted. These enzymes are going to kill the insect. So from the insect body, this plant requires the proteins. Okay, understand? This is about the insectivorous plants. Best examples were there like Drosera, Nepenthes. All these are the best examples. Okay, student. That's all for today. I hope you all covered this. Saprophytes. Here this type of organisms, they'll prefer the food from the dead and decaying matter. Example, mushrooms and the bread molds. Okay, with this I completed the nutrition in the plants. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.